here. All right, let's get started because we only have 10 minutes each. All right, so a little bit about me. I always introduce myself as a designer, and which is also a very hard definition to define what is design. So I would say, I try to solve problems, I try to facilitate, and I try to really also challenge things. So I've been working in private sectors, public sectors across different aspects, so lucky to be here. And what I'm going to share today, again, my passion is in design, people, and also luckily working in tourism, right? It's a very fun topic across all the different, I would say, industry, touch point, etc. But I'm just going to share something about an experience I'm sure all of you guys had already, right? Checking. So maybe a show of hands if you've done checking to flight using a kiosk or mobile. Yes, a lot, right? It's very common. Okay, how about checking to a hotel using kiosk or mobile? All right, some of you guys, cool. How about anybody see a kiosk in the hotel, but then you go straight to the front desk and just checking with a human being? Yeah, still a lot, yes, exactly, right? People still enjoy that experience. So as you can see, a lot of hotels, a lot of places, right? Lots of kiosk checking, right? Fancy, beautiful. Why? Why do we need the checking? From business perspective, it's easy, it's efficient, it can reduce the cost, saving the manpower. Wow, lots of benefits, right? And then you see it's everywhere, right? From kiosk even to mobile, everywhere. So if you look at the adoption, right, around the world or in Singapore, for example, really going up. A time to celebrate. Yay, we're having great success. What do you think? I see you guys, some of you guys are shaking their head. No. What's really happening? Yeah, what's really happening is businesses are celebrating, right? I mean, even government, right? We're happy. Okay, a lot of tech solutions are out there. But as the designers, right, we're always curious, okay, so who are using it? What's the reality on the ground? And that's always something we find out. And we're always a troublemaker, right? Ask very difficult questions. Show me the utilization. Well, what are the people really using it? And unfortunately, this is a reality you see, right? A solution is there, guests are there, but they're not having a conversation. They're not using it. So that's where we come in. How can we get things fixed, right? So again, coming back to the fundamentals, right? Who are the people we're dealing with? They're not the, people in the lab, right? Or people you imagine that what the journey is about. They are the real travelers. They could be flying after 10, 20 hours, right? Very tired, with kids, lots of luggages. So how are we going to really design the experience for them? And what I think, how can we get the things right? So there are 3 aspects. So from physical, digital, and also the human elements. So what does that mean? Physical. So I start off as actually industrial designer background. So I'm also still fascinated about the physical products and touch. Yes, you've got a kiosk. But at the end of the day, imagine people are pulling the luggages, people are holding their passport, people have kids around, right? How is the whole physical design, the environment are catered for those situations, right? Even simple things like the height of the table, the angle of the display, right? Where to put your luggage, where you're gonna leave your coffee, for example. This is all gonna take into consideration. So it's not just a kiosk or interface, but it's the environment. So coming to the environment, right? Stepping into a hotel lobby, a space, think about what's the flow and where they feel comfortable to approach the kiosk. We're gonna leave things behind. We're almost like designing a stage. So it's not just about, hey, I'm not gonna touching the whole design. Actually, I'm gonna touch the whole design, right? Reinvent the whole environment. So make it like a stage that you know where you're moving towards and easily perform some of those tasks. All right, coming to the interactions, right? This is, again, a lot of people are very obsessed with simple design, friendly design, right? Interface, with AI, many things can be, simplified. we only have 10 seconds to win people's trust. So those are just a couple principles that I really like when coming to the design. It's always, again, very fundamental, right? So if you think about the hotel check-in, a lot of times it actually happens right way before you step into the hotel lobby, right? Because you need to provide a lot of personal information, your face, matching, etc. So the moment you clear the immigration or the moment you step into the hotels, right, it will be a lot more smooth. So nudging the people to start those interactions way before is important. So what we see in the industry, a lot of hotels just sending out emails, right, after your booking, and then remind the people, hey, do your pre-check-in registration. And how many of you guys are going to be interested in clicking or finding out more about those things when you get those emails? You're probably just going to delete. Probably it's, nothing, right? Nothing to worry, nothing to think about it. So that's why you have to kind of, at the end of the day, what is the value you bring to the table, right? It's cutting the queue. It's really saving your time. You can get your key. You can, go towards your room like immediately. Make it very simple. Now I talk about it as if like, duh, everybody knows it, right? But when you are, working with some of the industries, right? They're working with different agencies or tech players, partners. You never even really think about it, right? Those very basic fundamental things. And when we travel, normally or most of the time, we're going to an exciting place. We have no knowledge, right? We're quite anxious. Our IQ completely dropped when coming to those places. So how we deal with those anxiety, right? Breaking down to very simple things. Again, checking is not something natural to digital checking, right? It may not be something very natural to people. If you're gonna break down to something simple, kind of ease along the way, that's important. And sometimes it's about over communication, right? Because we always say, oh, less is more. But in some situation, you have to handhold every step of the way, right? Not only pre-arrival, on the day of arrival, we're getting the room ready, right? We're getting the place prepared. And then here you go, right? Even giving you the room number or when it will be done to ease the whole anxiety will be quite important to our visitors. And the last but not the least, how about the people around? So are they going to be all retired, right? Because you can do self-check-in. Why do you need a front desk? What are the people going to do? Well, everybody is part of the ecosystem, right? And that's a new job we're going to give them. And we all know technology doesn't work all the time, right? There will be moments it failed. Just getting everything set up, it was always moments of failure. So the front desk, right? Everybody in the lobby, they are going to be the people who step in to help. So it's not about just training of them say, hey, this is how the system works, right? This is what's the new solution we're going to bring. Okay, this is going to be something you tell to your guests. So the moment that you come in, direct them to the kiosk. Not only that, sometimes you have to kind of also build a new capability, right? Of like stepping at the right moment and feel empowered, even though you could be a bellman, right? But you should feel empowered at the time when people are feeling or facing those difficulties, and you're coming in, and then you are performing that, hero to save them from that moment. A lot of times people don't really feel empowered, and this is a lot of, I would say, trainings and nudgings, right, that we need to do even for the human in the ecosystem. And last but not least, their role also start to change, right? Not only just doing a very basic utility things, people always, again, like to hear the story, hear the, local recommendation, what are the restaurants that you really like, right? What are the places I should visit? What are the surprises that, you would provide to your guests as a frontliners? I mean, maybe a question to you guys, right? What was the last memory or the memory that you had for your last trip that you had to interact with the people? Do you remember that? At the end of the day, it's the memory, right? That's gonna resonate with the travelers. And then a lot of times it's not just about the fancy museum you went to, right? It's actually the people that you interact with. And so how are we gonna really bring that up? It's quite critical in our design. So one last thing I want to share is about a little bit about how we design the ecosystem. So again, we're not really owning every single product, and we may not be able, right, to look at everything in details. So from our perspective, a lot of times we're also designing sort of the, I would say, guidelines, right, and then the principles, so that can be systematically adopted, enriched to the industry, and at the same time designing our policies, right? What do we mean by policies? So encourage people for better design. That comes, you know, in the form of incentive or form of control, right? So as a way of when we're looking at a complex ecosystem, that becomes, you know, so much handy. So, all right, so at the end of the day, when think about your design, think about your products, think about your services, right? I always ask ourselves and ask you know, people to think about the three aspects, right? Physical, digital, at the end of the day, and what's the human involvement in the design. All right, that's it.